Welcome everybody to the Mock European Council. I'm Rodri Morgan and I chair the European and External Affairs Committee of the Assembly, and you're very welcome to T. Hywel and to Siambr Hywel, the original debating chamber of the Assembly for its first 6 years or so before the new building was completed. And this is where the opening ceremony, the original opening ceremony of the Assembly took place 11 years ago or so.
Very warm welcome to everybody who's taking part in this mock council of the European Union today. For the French and the Breton, we would like to welcome you to Wales, to this chamber, which was the first debating chamber of the National Assembly of Wales.
26 years ago, I was involved in one of these events. It was a UN Security Council event where there was a debate taking place, the intention of which was to lead to a lasting peace in the Middle East. Didn't quite get there. But the school that I was in, Bryn and Brittany, we were Egypt. So we were key to it all. We were the biggest Arab country, and all I remember is at one point the Syrians walked out. So try not to do that today, walking out of the meeting, but it was quite a heated debate that we had in the Security Council over in the Temple of Peace all those years ago. Now, looking at the agenda that you've got in front of you, you've got two important issues to deal with. Sustainable development. What do we mean by sustainable development? A lot of people think sustainable development is just about the environment. Now, the environment is an important part of it. We need to make sure that we live in a way now that doesn't jeopardize the ability of future generations to live their lives as well. So the environment is an important part of sustainability, things like renewable energy, things like recycling. But sustainable development also involves social and economic sustainability. If we're going to have communities that thrive, they've got to have jobs to go to. And so economic sustainability is important as well. If you're going to have a community that thrives, you've also got to have a good age range of people living in those communities. So social sustainability is important as well. Let me turn to motion 2, the EU budget. Well, we know the times are tight financially. They're going to be that way for the next few years. So the question for you is, what should the EU budget look like in years to come?
Welcome to everyone. Bienvenue à nos visiteurs français. It's a real pleasure to speak with you here this morning at this third mock EU Council. Of course, you understand my view on the Council is very particular because I represent the European Commission, and I think we have the Commission team over here sitting at the table, but not between the delegations, because we never are one of the delegations. We are beyond the 27 countries. We're a whole different institution, but nevertheless working together and often also working against the 27 countries in trying to defend what we define as the common European interest, whereas yourselves in your preparations you must have focused on the national interest of your country, but of course that doesn't coincide with what is the common European interest.
We will move on to the school representing Belgium in seats 3 and 4. Can I ask you to have in 1 minute to state your initial position?
Good morning. Belgium comes here today with the objective of pushing forward our opinion on the European Union's environmental development and the allocation of the budget. We believe the European Union should place a stronger emphasis on embedding sustainable development principles in policy-making processes. As a nation, we have faced large-scale environmental problems in the past 2 decades and have started to overcome these issues with effective green policies. It is vital that the EU steps up to the mark and uses its array of resources to make positive contributions towards sustainable development. Although we approach the issue with apprehension, as our economy is focused strongly on imports from industrial sectors, we need to mitigate the potential impact of negative environmental change and set an example to other nations. Belgium will gladly take a role in the decisions on embedding sustainable development principles into the EU policy-making processes.
I'm representing Denmark. This may be the case that we've all made commitments, but I think quite a lot of countries have mentioned that they would need financial aid to be able to meet the same commitments as places like Germany, who are very wealthy countries. Places like Romania, Slovenia, Poland, Hungary, Greece, you've all mentioned you have financial difficulties. Also this word balance between economy, it's going to be different for each country because all our economies are different. So perhaps if we gave some sort of aid to the countries who need it, they could use sustainable development to increase their economy. So in the future, we could all be on an equal playing ground here. We could all meet the same targets, but at the moment that just isn't possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Who's got the red light coming on? In the third, fourth row, yes?
I'm representing Romania, and talking about an equal playing field, our government has official policy known as Chapter 18 on green issues, and the main message of this is that Romania wants to bring itself up to the average EU standard, and I think to change the playing field and the goalposts now would mean that a lot of money will have to be redirected, and not all of that will be able to we won't be able to get it all back. So it would mean a waste of money, which is in short supply really in a country like Romania.
In recent decades, the EU has widened and deepened to such an extent that it now deals with all areas of policy making. Its budget, however, has barely changed and therefore needs to be radically reformed. But in this current economic crisis, should the EU make substantial changes to its budget allocation?
Frank, os gwelwch yn dda.
I'm going to speak in Welsh, the same. Rydym ni'n credu bod hi'n bwysig cadw a pheidio lleihau'r polisi am waith cyffredin. Mae'r polisi am waith cyffredin yn gongolfaen i'r Undeb
This is one of the cornerstones of the European Union, and one of the reasons for creating the Union. In our opinion, this policy is more important than ever. Last year, the price of grain increased greatly, and the increase in the population of China and India is one of the reasons for this. This year's crops were less than expected. In these difficult circumstances, it's important to be able to feed our people, and without the common agriculture policy, this would be difficult, if not impossible. It's true that some countries do receive more money from the policy than other countries, but there are good reasons for these. There are 73,000 farms in France, and we're heavily reliant on agriculture. 3/5 of the country are used for agriculture. You have to remember that France's agriculture plays an important role in the whole of Europe, and we're second largest country after America. Without the common agriculture policy, our farmers would not be able to cope, and this impact would be felt across Europe. 70% of our produce goes to other countries in Europe, and without this trade we would have to import food from countries outside the European Union, and we cannot know how sustainable that those imports would be. Although we and other countries such as Spain and Portugal do receive more money through this policy, we play an essential role within the European Union, as countries such as the Netherlands and Britain are dependent on importing food from sustainable sources. We must remember that we do not make a profit from the European Union. We are expected to pay 114 billion euros back to the European Union. So although we do benefit from this policy, we also make a loss, in fact, for the good for the rest of the European Union.
We're speaking for Bulgaria. Bulgaria has been experiencing economic growth in recent years, but we're still one of the poorest EU members, and we suffered significantly in the recession. We support countries like Greece in their proposal that the budget should be allocated to the poorest countries. We think the EU should invest in projects in poorer countries and in that and in agriculture that will create jobs and encourage economic growth that will benefit the EU long term. Budget cuts should focus on reducing government spending in richer countries and union spending in Brussels.